Rally Mohawks, bring out your axes and tell King George will pay no taxes on his foreign tea. So, the Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party is the Sons of Liberty's organized protest against the landing of the tea, which you learned about yesterday. So what happened is they did not want the British tea to be unloaded from the ships, and so the ships sat in Boston Harbor and the tea remained on the ships. When the Sons of Liberty heard that Governor Hutchinson had plans to unload the tea on December 17th, they got together and had a meeting at the Old South Meeting House, and they set out with 30 men to go dump the tea and were soon joined by about 100 others. Their disguise was a very flimsy disguise, pretending to be a Mohawk Indian, but really it was just enough of a disguise so that they could say, it wasn't me. They boarded the boat with axes in order to break open the wooden chests of tea and to dump the tea in the harbor to basically make the tea useless and no good anymore. So once it's dumped in the water, you can't use it. They were silent. They were under orders to not destroy any property except for the tea. They didn't want to be accused of being just rioting for no reason and being destructive. They had a purpose, and the purpose was to protest the tea, and so they were only to touch the tea, and they were not to take any tea with them because they didn't want to be accused of stealing the tea, because their point wasn't to steal and destroy. Their point was to protest against the taxes. And so they dumped about 342 chests of tea into Boston Harbor. Basically, people said Boston Harbor looked like a big teapot. And it was about $1 million worth of tea in today's money. So it was a lot of tea. And $1 million worth of tea gets destroyed. You can imagine that somebody is going to be angry. And King George was furious, and Parliament was furious at the colonists for dumping all this tea into the harbor and disregarding their laws and not doing what they wanted them to do. And so, as you can imagine, the king is going to do something about it. And the colonists are going to have some consequences for this act. So that's what you're going to learn about today, is the consequences that happened because of the Boston Tea Party. And these consequences are directly going to lead to the American Revolution. The consequences are called the Intolerable Acts. And so what you are going to learn about today are the Intolerable Acts. What did the king do because the colonists threw the tea into the harbor? They were actually called the coercive acts, basically were the colonists' punishments, the rules that they had to now follow. And the colonists called them the intolerable acts because they said that they were intolerable and they just impossible to put up with this. So as you read today, you're going to learn about the consequences of the Boston Tea Party.